Hopefully it's not just us two.
Employ 700 people in total. The variety of businesses, some with 5 or fewer employees, some with 25 or fewer employees. As you know, the demand was enormous. We opened our portal at 5 p.m. on March the 18th, closed it on midnight March the 20th. We received over 1,400 completed applications. Another 2,545 were in process. So as you can see, while 101 small businesses are going to get help, there is still a tremendous amount of need out there. And so we are not turning away in any way those who are not getting these awards, because as important as our $1 million is our work together with the Metro Chamber of Commerce, the Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce, to help fund and set up a one-stop portal for people and small businesses to be able to get ready access and help, technical help in filling out the paperwork to qualify for the new federal stimulus loans and the other state and federal aid that are out there. But our $1 million here was and is a great start. It's a catalyst. It is a sign and a demonstration, I hope, to the small business community of Sacramento that we aren't going to just leave this to other levels of government, but we're going to step in the breach and do everything we can to both fund, but also to fund small business loans, but also to organize the larger community to make sure that as many businesses as possible who qualify and who deserve to continue doing business in our city have the opportunity to do so. So good work, city team. And thank you for getting this done so quickly. Let me turn it over to my colleagues. I'll start with Angelique Ashby. Pro Tem.
Thanks, Mayor. I just also want to thank the city staff for being extremely diligent, and my colleagues. I call this preservation economics. Try to preserve what we have and see if we can keep it in place. I hope we can do more of this. Of the businesses selected in District 1, at least one is a business that's only 1 year old, Koshi Ramen. They just opened a year ago. I'm sure this will help them stay in place. Several restaurants and little in-home daycare centers are going to be helped in my district. And I was very glad to see downtown and midtown really get the help that they need. New Helvetia, Get a Clue, some of these businesses give so much during the year back to the city. I'm really glad that we're able to help some of them. I was also, Mayor, very heartened by the fact when I looked at the list of how many businesses asked for a small amount, just what they needed, right? We were able to help 101 businesses with $1 million, which means that average is somewhere around 9,000. That's because people didn't ask for the top amount, they asked for what they needed for. And I think that shows the togetherness, the indomitable spirit of Sacramento. Just really proud of this effort. I hope that we can do more of it. I think this is a good way to use our funds to get them out there in the community and be able to keep people who are dealing with unemployment or businesses that are dealing with fear of how to get through this period of time, how we can give them a lifeline. So Mayor, kudos to you for your leadership on this, and to the council and to the city of Sacramento. I think this is a really good day.
Thank you, Angelique. Let me turn it over to Steve Hansen, who came to me, representing the downtown and the midtown and seeing where the stress was pretty clear and immediate. It was Steve who came to me and said, we ought to be thinking about some small business assistance right out of the gate. So Steve, I want to thank you and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to echo certainly your comments and Angelique's comments about why we're doing this today. We're doing this because so many of our small businesses, our arts organizations, our childcare centers, and our nonprofits, to be frank, their lives are flashing before their eyes. They've worked so hard and so long and taken so much risk to try to put together something special. And because of the unprecedented nature of this particular crisis, everybody feels like they're in free fall. When we proposed this program, we weren't yet in a shelter-in-place order. We were simply trying to plug what was then a different kind of challenge with some opportunity. And here today, as this situation has unfolded, you mentioned we got many more applications in the 48-hour period than we had anticipated. Over 1,400 completed applications. 4,000 applications were started. Many people from outside the city who weren't eligible applied, and we, in providing resources to the 101 businesses, certainly know that there are many other deserving entities that, for a variety of reasons, aren't on this list today. But I think that this process, and really Michael Jasso, Leslie Fritchie, Melissa, the people from economic development on this line, who from the March 17th, when the council approved the item, had the portal open in 24 hours to receive applications. We then, by the end of that week, used that application list to send out a questionnaire to see what was most important. And because of that work, we were able to add commercial tenant eviction protections to help staunch some of the bleeding in the choice between paying employees or paying rent. And we know that these are very difficult decisions everyone is making. Since we've launched this program, I think it's important to note too, other cities have followed suit. And just today, the governor of California announced a $50 million micro loan program through the state iBank. And as these programs, whether the federal or the state, come down, we're going to use the application list we have to share that information. But I'm very glad, as the central city and District 4 is in a lot of ways the visitor economy, has so much of our farm to fork restaurants in it, and so many of the entertainment and nonprofits that we count on when we need our own catharsis. They're struggling, that this is a minor help to a major problem, but we're doing some good, even though we can't do as much good as we like. And so hopefully this is something we can continue to build on. But whether it's robertarchie or some of the other people on this line who are doing amazing work, I think that this is truly going to make a difference, and we're just going to have to continue to build on it. So thank you to our city staff. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to my colleagues, Angelique, Eric, and Jay, for all of your support. And we have moved faster than we ever believed. Now we have to keep moving at that speed to make sure we catch as many people as we can.
Very good. Thank you so much, Steve. Jay?
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. I also want to start out by thanking Michael and Melissa and Leslie, all the folks who worked on this. Pretty amazing timeline and something that is just critical. I actually don't think there's anything that we're doing that's more important than this. When we think about the future of the city and when we think about what our economy needs to look like in the future and how do we help people bridge that timeline from today until we can open up and really start going again. Rob, I'm really looking forward to a hamburger at Pangea when you guys reopen that piece and not just takeout. But this is just critical. You know, whether, and I also want to give a shout out to both the Chamber of Commerce and the Asian Chamber of Commerce. I know that we're putting dollars in with both of them to partner with them. There are lots and lots of ways that small businesses can go after dollars. It's really a matter of communicating with them and educating with them. I know, frankly, I'm a small business person, and we spent half of today filling out our PP forms for the federal government, so that there are dollars out there to help people. And so I just want to encourage people, if they need help, go to one of the chambers if you can do that, and look at the city website. I'm sure we're directing people. But again, this is the most important thing we're doing, and we just have to support our small businesses. They're the lifeline and lifeblood of our economy. We need to remember that every day.
Thank you, Jay. Councilman Guerra. Eric?
Hey, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I also, again, want to start off thanking, Leslie, Melissa, and Michael and the whole team, making sure that this got out there, the information was out there, and also all the staff and all the different council offices. I know my staff was out there pushing this information out to the community, trying to get it out so that people could apply. But what I want to highlight is also how much the businesses that are receiving this information, this resource and this loan, are contributing and giving back. Not only the child care centers that are getting the loans are helping people stay and go to work and keeping our programs going. And they have a brick and mortar cost that they have to take on every day, both Family Matter and Playhouse, at least in District 6, and many throughout the entire city. But also, it was great to see a business like Sac City Brews, who has been doing an enormous amount of takeout for folks. And then not only that, but encouraging this cheer and having help supporting their employees and doing fun things like drive around parades and thanking their employees for their birthdays by maintaining social distancing and creating that level of opportunity of optimism during this time. So I think kind of like how Jay mentioned, that there's nothing better than our small businesses who are that character for the entire city. We know that those small businesses are the ones that bring that different life, that bring up those neighborhoods. And so focusing on making sure that they stay alive through this is critical. So again, want to thank everyone for that. And it's a great city effort. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, city staff, and to all my colleagues as well.
Very good. Michael and your team, Melissa and Leslie, thank you all very, very much. Michael, you want to make a few comments?
Michael, you're on mute.
My apologies. No, just really want to applaud the leadership of you, Mayor, and the rest of the council for doing this. We're in constant communication with our peers around the country and other cities, and I will tell you that Sacramento is leading on this front. And in fact, we've gotten lots of requests from a lot of communities in California to duplicate this program. I think our task is clear. Now the next task is to move expeditiously and get dollars actually into the hands of these businesses, which we can hope can happen sometime next week, latter part of next week at the latest. So we look forward to continuing this. We look forward to continuing to work with all the businesses that applied. I think Steve and others definitely hit the nail on the head. There are lots of resources coming down the way that our staff, along with the Metro Chamber, along with the Sacramento Asian Chamber, are prepared and ramping up to assist our business community in addressing the long weeks and months ahead as we move from mitigation to recovery. And we look forward to seeing a thriving and indomitable kind of Sacramento continuing.
Thank you. Anybody else from the city staff team want to make any comments? Melissa, thank you. And Leslie, thank you. How about Rob or Amber or Susan? Let's hear from one or two of the recipients, please. Rob?
Yeah, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So first of all, Mayor, I want to thank you. 2 weeks ago, things were very uncertain. When we hopped on the conference call with Region Restaurants by Josh Wood that organized that. And there was a lot of questions, there's a lot of uncertainty. And, you kind of talked about what you knew, what you were going to figure out. And, coming through, like you said, one thing is not going to solve it. But it's just a token of just what you have shown, and like I said, all of our businesses, it's been a big deal for the community to come together. Like we've had so many guests come in with, we had one guest come in with an envelope for each one of our employees with $100 in it for every single one of our employees. It was awesome. So, Steve Hansen's office has been great. Jay Schneer's office has been great. Everybody's been responsive, but it's tough because every day we had to essentially come up with a new business plan as we learned what we can do. And so it's like our team had to believe, we had to kind of stay in the moment, not panic, and just kind of respond. So like the show of this is it's just important that collectively, as a city and as a community, that we just got to come together and do what we can and just kind of continue that path forward until we can get things to kind of back to what I guess would be normal.
We'll get back to that at some point. Who else would like to, who are the other recipients on the call?
I'll chime in. I'm Susan Stewart from Scrapping.
Hey, Susan.
Yeah, this is, I'm just so proud. I'm probably the only person on this call that's like crying half the call, but I'm just so grateful to just our leadership here in Sacramento and the Sacramento community and the city council for coming to this so quickly. You know, I actually just signed a lease for a second location in Midtown prior to this happening. And, you know, 6 days later, we find out that we're all going to be on lockdown. And then, you know, I think it was like, honestly, within 5 days, this loan popped up, and like tons of my customers were sending it to me. You need to apply for this. You need to apply for this. I have people from the city that are my customers as well. And just the quickness of this was so heartfelt and wonderful, because, you know, you build your dream and you're so excited about what you're doing and what you're accomplishing and how you're growing. And something like this comes and it just like hits you like a hammer. And, you know, every single human on the planet right now is affected. There's not one person that is not affected by this. And with this loan, what I plan on doing is keeping my staff on, and just that relief and the weight off my shoulders to know that my staff is going to be able to make it through May, and hopefully we can reopen May, June, July, whenever. This loan is going to keep us all afloat and keep their families safe and keep my family safe. And I'm just grateful. I'm sorry, I'm such an emotional person. You'll know that about me, but I'm really, really super grateful for this, and I appreciate all of you.
You know what? We love and appreciate the emotion, because it's real, and it makes us feel good too, because we know what we've done and what we're all doing together really means something. So thank you.
It really does. All those people, all of you guys who are working behind a computer and not knowing where this goes, I am one of the 101 people that got a loan, and it really, it's not only affecting me, and it's affecting Oak Park, it's affecting our neighborhood, it's affecting my 5 staff members, their family members. It's going so much farther than this one business. This small little tiny loan, it means the world. And I feel so lucky. I'm watching the rest of the world go through this, and not every city is as lucky as Sacramento to have people that really work fast. And I am very grateful. Strapping's very grateful. Oak Park is very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Are there any other recipients on the line? How about, let's turn it over to the media here.
Andrew, can you moderate the questions since you're getting them?
Yes, there's no questions in the chat so far. I am going to switch to gallery view, so if I can see anybody on the call who's raising their hand. And nobody so far.
I think Susan kind of said it all.
And we got Giacomo raised his hand.
Yeah, I saw that. He physically raised his hand.
Hi, Mayor. Thanks for doing this call today. We really appreciate it. Was wondering if you could talk about some of the specifics of the loan, and were the some of the requirements for business owners who apply for the loan, and what are the requirements that they have to meet in terms of that loan?
Sure, Michael. Why don't Melissa to answer some of that?
Sure, I'll start, and Melissa or Leslie may want to join in. So first of all, the loan structure themselves are zero interest kind of loans, for businesses under 25,000 individuals. Sorry, hopefully you can all hear me. The loan is available to cover day-to-day expenses, most significantly payroll, rent, utilities. To be eligible, you need to be a for-profit, independently owned local business with not more than 25 FTEs, or a not 501c3 nonprofit. Specifically, we generally were trying to particularly look at restaurants, retail, daycare establishments. You had to have a physical location within the city of Sacramento, and you had to be a currently operating business. You couldn't be in the process of becoming a business to do it. The terms are fairly straightforward. As I said, it's zero interest, no payment for the first 120 days, commencing from whenever the emergency is lifted by the city. Thereafter, the payments are $100 per month for every $5,000, that's borrowed. We are working, I'm really thankful for Five Star Bank, who is going to be our partner in originating the loans and getting the loan documents out. This will allow us to kind of get actual dollars in the hands of the recipients very quickly. So I think that covers most of the points. Leslie, I don't know if there's anything you would like to add.
Go ahead, Leslie.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. No, I think that you did a great job to get the money out into the hands of the people.
Hey, Leslie, I'm actually going to stop you. Your audio connection is really, really bad.
Does it help this way?
Yes, that's much better.
Okay, thank you. I just had to lift my lid of my laptop. And I was just going to say we're very pleased and thank you to the mayor and council for their leadership on this. It's so heartwarming to talk with these businesses and get them the resources they need in this very critical time.
Thank you, Leslie. We have a question in the chat. When will the entire list of recipients be released?
Right away, I think.
Councilmember Hansen has said this afternoon, he believes. Is there any update from the economic development team on that?
No, that is correct. We expect to post the full list kind of this afternoon. And we have been and are in process of kind of notifying the recipients.
Okay, I am back to gallery view. If anybody else has any questions.
Andrew, I just want to make one point that I forgot to make earlier, which is that while we are trying to plug this gap right now, if people have a chance to order from these small businesses, neighborhood establishments, to go delivery directly from the restaurant, a lot of the delivery services take a big percentage. That would be helpful. I'm sure the retail establishments, to the extent that you can call and order something for pickup or drop off, many of the small businesses that we know, their owners are driving around, leaving packages on porches for customers. So as much as the city is trying to help with this, we need the community to also jump in like we know they're doing. But I think it's important that we continue to share that message that we're going to only get through this together. And this is a big part of what makes Sacramento special, like Angelique saying earlier. We are the indomitable city, fires, floods, apparently now pestilence and plague, but we will get through this and we will survive. If Governor Stanford could row from the second floor of the Stanford Mansion to the Capitol in the 1880s to become governor in the middle of a flood, we can overcome this and we will overcome it.
Mr. Luca, go ahead and ask your follow-up question.
Yeah, I just had a follow-up on the loans. I had heard that there was some sort of stipulation in terms of folks having to keep a percentage of their staff on, and I didn't know if someone could elaborate on that.
Leslie?
We have not made that stipulation. Certainly it is our hope that they use it to keep their staff employed, but we've not made that specific stipulation for the loan recipients because they may choose to use it for their rent or other things as well. So
we have encouraged them to do as such, but also keep in mind that it's our hope that ultimately this loan isn't just used in isolation. So for instance, you may be aware of the new SBA loan product, which does have a stipulation and can be forgivable as long as they keep their employees in place. So we expect that many of these businesses will be layering a number of tools ultimately that will provide protection to workers as well as the businesses as an operating entity.
Let me add this too. Michael, as I understand it, and Leslie and Melissa, that everyone who applied who did not get a city loan is being helped through the SBA process through the Metro Chamber and the Sac Asian Chamber of Commerce, correct?
That is correct. We shared everyone's name, including those that did receive this loan, is being shared with our partners. I know, as an example, the Sac Asian Chamber is ramping up staffing to be able to offer considerable relationship management in underwriting the loans as they move forward. I believe in the past couple of days, they've already made contact with several hundred of those that didn't receive kind of the financing in place, and we fully expect that we'll make contact with everyone that has, trying to work with them, encourage them, and as the resources continue to build up at the state, federal, and local levels, candidly, we'll continue to do that for these applicants and all our business community.
Mayor, can I say one thing really quickly is for the press, federal money is first come, first serve. So we really want to encourage Sacramentans, if they're going after those funds, to get in there and get their applications in, or we'll miss out on it.
Mayor, on that last question too about the stipulations for salary, the stipulation for us that we added was a demonstrated need. So some people may have used salary as that demonstration. Others may have used, you know, costs for their lease or whatnot. But on this one, if a business could show us a demonstrated need, that was the stipulation for being eligible.
Yep. Look at, again, just to put this into context, this is 101 businesses. This is 700 people. It is a great start, but it is a small window into the broader need, but we're not leaving it at just this local funding and these awards. We are trying to wrap ourselves around as many of the small businesses as we can, including those who applied, who didn't get grants, and helping them navigate through the broader and more robust loan programs for both the state and the federal government. And we know that the work is only beginning. We're at the beginning of this, not the end. But this is just a good sign and real hope for real businesses and real people. And I'm grateful again to everybody who helped make it happen.
Any other questions out there?
Thank you.
Mayor, if I can, just one closing comment. So we expect that the businesses that will be receiving, besides being contacted by us, they will also be being contacted by our partner, Five Star Bank, in order to expeditiously kind of complete the documents and get loans out the door and fund it as quickly as possible.
Yep. That's great. Good work, everyone. See you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.